What's up, everybody? Merry Christmas. It's Christopher Dixon here. We have been discussing for the last 10 months these tools that you can use in your toolbox if you are a leader in your church, your business, your organization. And what we have continually heard from leaders is that, hey, this has been the year that we didn't expect. So I kind of have probably mentioned it too many times in these videos, but to say it has been a hard year would be a massive understatement. It's been an incredibly difficult year, no matter what your leadership position. Well, the tool that I want to share with you for your toolbox today during this Christmas season is one that's especially tough to use, and it's a little bit tough to identify it correctly when you need to use it, but I'll share a little bit more information with you about that. But first, a little bit of an explanation and definition. A number of years ago, you started hearing online, so social media, you started hearing about in the workplace, you started hearing about the toxic person or the toxic environment. And the idea is that this person or this environment were just so incredibly difficult, so incredibly just this terrible place to work, or this terrible person to be around. Well, as a leader, and this applies really to churches of all size, businesses of at least small to medium size, very, very large organizations. It's a little bit different, but that's a subject for another time. And same thing with your organizations. The toxic environment or the toxic person is one that our job as leaders, our job is to prevent the environment, the folks we work with, our job is to prevent a toxic work environment and to prevent people who are toxic in nature from, they're either going to have to change their ways, or perhaps they can't be with that business or church or organization any longer. And I would also suggest to you that there is usually, if your organization or business or church has any size at all, there's usually one person. Even if you get a dozen or so people together, there's usually one toxic person in the bunch. But the first definition that I want to share with you, or the main definition this evening, is what exactly it means by toxic, and what do we in our leadership role, whether you serve as the primary leader or you're on a leadership team of some sort, what do we do about a toxic person? And first of all, what exactly is it? A toxic person is not one who makes mistakes or simply needs training or accidentally blows up and says something that they shouldn't have. That is a person that is worth, I would say, 85 to 95% of the time, most people, when you have attracted top talent, and I'll even say talent within your church, but certainly within your business or organization, you want to keep those individuals. It is much more cost effective and much better for your church or your organization or your business to reduce turnover and keep the people that you have and work with them if they're able to be worked with. And so people make mistakes, or they definitely feel like they need more training. That's your pastoral staff, your whatever type of business, whether you work with in the retail environment, whether you work in consumer goods, whatever that may be, and certainly true of your nonprofit organizations. A lot of times people say things they shouldn't say or send emails that they shouldn't send, but it's a one-off or simply a mistake that was made. Or sometimes people are really struggling, and so they come off the wrong way because we've been told, and I hear this in other leadership settings as well, they don't have the training that they need to be effective. That is not a toxic person. A toxic person, by definition, or a toxic environment that's caused by one or more toxic people, is an environment or a person that is intentionally cruel or condescending towards another person. So whether that's racism, sexism, whatever the case may be, cruelty, that is a deeply ingrained problem. We don't always know why the problem exists. Maybe sometimes it's a personal issue that a person needs to get over. Sometimes it is an environment that has been fostered by 2 or 3 or 4 people. But our job as leaders is to root out that person or that group of people and make sure that they do not affect the entire organism, that organization or church or business. So here's your tip for your toolbox, or your tool for your toolbox, as we move forward and finish out this year. Your job, if it comes down to it, if that person or that group of people is not able to be salvaged, then your job, and it sounds cruel and it sounds harsh, especially here in the Christmas season, is to cut out that cancerous cell or those cancerous cells. And that sounds terrible, but if it's not a training issue and it is not something that a person can be coached through, and of course the question for you, and I'll finish this up and make this real quick here, but the question for you is, are they trainable? Can they learn? Can they change the behavior? And it's something that you can work with that person in that position within your church or your organization or your business. If it is, keep that person, keep that man or keep that woman, and they are absolutely invaluable to your organization if they are coachable and trainable. But if they're not, and they are intentionally toxic or unintentionally, but that is an obstacle that you are not able to get around as a leader, it is your job, it is your duty to your organization, whatever type of organization that may be, to cut out that cancerous cell and get rid of it for the good of the church or the business or the organization. We're going to do one more video, the 20th video for 20 tips of 2020 before the end of the year. I look forward to seeing you on that video. Until then, a few weeks from now, as we've said before, we appreciate it when you watch these videos, when you like them, when you share them with others, and when you follow this page. So we'll see you again in a couple weeks, leaders. We appreciate you, and Merry Christmas.